Hey friends, this is John Klein III with episode 51 of Shadow and Flame with Magic, the podcast, and today we're going to review X-Terminators issue 3 from 1988. So let's get to it. Alright, and once again, thanks to Francisco for providing the theme song to the podcast. Really appreciate it, and you. And with a heavy heart, it took me forever to read Exterminators issue 2. And after verifying on a couple fan websites, including UncannyXmen.com and the fandom page for all Marvel comics, magic isn't seen or discussed at all in Exterminators 2. So instead of 16 weeks, we're just going to do 15 weeks. And hopefully none of the other books get taken off the list. But, I mean, they mentioned Limbo, but that's not enough to be kept in the Kate Pride Lockheed Magic collection. And I'm pretty sure young me just bought all 4 books all at once, was like, good enough. I'll sort it out later. And later was today. And, well, I don't know, I got like 2 hours of sleep. So, like, watching Big Brother tonight, I was also, like, getting a little sleepy. And I just ended up doing that thing where you just keep reading the same 2 panels over and over again. It was like, this is not working. But then I got to Exterminators 3, and not only was the 3rd issue so much better than the 2nd issue, magic is not only shown, but discussed. Shown once, discussed the second time. So let's get into this. So Exterminators issue 3 from 1988. It has Inferno continues. The Exterminators are on the cover with in their costumes they designed last issue, which was nice that since skipping it, I can probably summarize it with the teens are just trying to get to Manhattan in the cemetery and to rescue Artie and Leech as they design new costumes for them that are shown on the cover. And the Exterminators are Richter, Boom Boom, Rusty, and Skids, with WizKid either being on the team or not on the team, and Artie and Leech questionable on the team. Oh, and in the character box is Artie in his X Factor team. The comic would have cost you $1 or 125 cans or 50 pence, and is comic book code approved. Inside cover is an ad for Buck Rogers in the 25th century. And the writing, guess who's coming to dinner? Writer Louis Simonson, penciler John Bogdanov, inker Al Milgram, letterer Joe Rosen, colorist John Willington, editor Bob Harris, and editor-in-chief Tom DeFago. It came out in December 1980. New York Public Library's main branch is on the 42nd Street, smack dab in the middle of Manhattan, a couple of blocks from Times Square. Anything a person needs to know can be found out within its 4 walls, down one of its winding book-filled corridors, even at a time when the city itself seems to be going mad. And we see the 4 teens, Rusty, Skids, Boom Boom, Richter, as they're looking at maps trying to figure out where the cemetery is, because in issue 2, Artie was able to send a message of where their location was in the message, and that how he speaks in symbols. And so they figured out it was New York, it was in Manhattan, and now they're just trying to figure it out, so they're looking at maps. Meanwhile, all these books are coming alive and being thrown around. It's either the books are alive or the goblins are throwing the books, or a little bit of both. And so they think they have a location, so they start running out. They go in the front of the library where the lion statue comes alive, and Rusty burns it, and it turns back into a lion. Thankfully, right where it was placed, so they don't have to worry about moving a giant, like 200-pound statue. Richter's looking at the map. He figures out they must be going to the cemetery. And, of course, we cut to two police officers who are at the cemetery. And then they start getting hands come up from the ground. And we hear that the goblins have been eating bones. And that the police officers' flesh tastes a little bit differently. But they're not dying. Or they're not being killed. I guess maybe they're just tasting them. They bring the police officers to Nanarith, the head goblin who's working against Sim. So there's multiple plans going on, and then Maddie Pryor's having a plan, and then Darkchild, Magic, Ileana Resputiniana is I went fancy there. I don't see, that's the part where I don't quite remember. I think she's just battling Limbo at the time, or Sim. And so we see Artie and Leech are taking care of the babies. The demons are getting hungry. WizKid's trying to bargain for trying to keep everyone alive, but also stalling. But I see here. There's a junior goblin. Let me see if I get his name. So there's a goblin named Cortus, and he has brought WizKid to Matar, or Nararis, and he so they start bargaining where WizKid wants a lot of demands, and Narsif are bargaining, and so WizKid, they're gonna agree to each other's terms. WizKid needs a bunch of food and his friends to be safe, or he won't be able to concentrate. And Nazareth is going to. I feel like that's not how anyone pronounced that guy's name. He's going to kill the other police officer after turning the other one into a goblin. And so materials are going to be fetched. WizKid's plan is to stall until the exterminators can get there. Meanwhile, we see them in the subway tunnel trying to jump on the subway, but all the machines and garbage, inanimate objects are turning goblinized. And they're not. They're thinking the train's going to be an exception, but it's not. It's also running at like 100 miles an hour. More bargaining between the two parties. Oh yeah. So Nazar's. Oh yeah, Nastrif. Nastor. Yeah. Oh yeah, maybe it is Nestor because the H is silent. N apostrophe ASTIRH. See, we had a animated version of Inferno. We'll have all these names pronounced. So let's see here. We have a speech. I'm trying to think where it. Oh yeah, he's like, and for that I will use you in this computer that you will make for me. A computer like the one Cortus described, one that will process my spells quickly and check them for accuracy. Sim, the demon lord that I serve in Limbo, underestimates the need for magic. He is infected and transformed by the techno-organic transmode virus and has come to rely almost solely on the abilities it imparted to him. Sim has placed me here on Earth to do the drudge work, to create and manipulate the forces that will bring Limbo here to Earth. Sim thinks that he uses me, but in truth I am using him. He forgets that the demon who makes the magics knows them most intimately and thus controls them. And that through these forces I, Nastir, will be the true ruler of the demonic kingdom that is coming. A scrying spell, simple magic anywhere but on your world. And then we cut to the page that guarantees I'm keeping this comic as we behold the great and powerful Sim, the master whom I must serve. And we see Sim battling the new mutants, including Ileana with her Darkchild persona and like horns the size of herself on her head. Technology has become Sim's master, giving him illusionary strength in the war to overthrow the Darkchild. leading him to overweening pride and forgetfulness of the old demon ways. Sim is not fit to rule there or here, but I. And then WizKid cuts him off and says questions about technology, and Nastir doesn't hate technology, he just wants to use it as a tool. WizKid keeps overstepping, and then Nastir starts threatening the babies, and so they're just pretty much they're both going to work with each other in a standoff situation. Elsewhere, the kids, the exterminators, are on the subway tunnel, being driven by a goblin who Rusty punches in the face, and then turns out he's human once he's unconscious. And so Skid starts trying to operate the train, and it just comes to a stop, but they're pretty much closer to where they were. Meanwhile, the goblins have brought the babies, Artie and Leech, a bunch of food and diapers, and so they're being taken care of. Items from Sony and IBM, which I don't even know if IBM's even a company at this point in in 2023. I'm sure they do something. So he's getting the computers. He's stalled long enough, and so Nastir is asking, threatening the babies. Like, he's just going to let the goblins eat the babies. Because if he can't succeed, then the babies don't serve a purpose. We get an in-house ad for Inferno, Uncanny X-Men 240 to 242, New Mutants 71 to 73, X Factor 36 to 38. It's Sim with Madeline to our left, Scott and Jean. Scott in his X Factor uniform, Jean in a white towel, it looks like, or a white sheet. Ileana is in her Dark Child outfit with a chain around her neck, with Sim holding that chain, which is not great for how it has been deeply implied what those two's relationship was like. Or relationship, as I'm sure Ileana would describe it. Colossus is knocked out, Storm's knocked out, Cannonball's knocked out, Wolverine's on his belly, the other ones are on their back, Rogue's on her back. And then we have a milestone month from Marvel with Avengers 300 that we will cover in the Inferno. Captain America 350 with both Captain and Captain America U.S. agent fighting, and Thor 400. So the remaining human police officer's about to get ripped apart, and WizKid finally agrees like he will make it, but first he needs to make his wheelchair. And miles away, exterminators are about to get out of the sewers finally. They find themselves in front of a biker bar, and they're looking at the map. Some biker dudes, more like biker jerks, are thinking they're standing too close to their bikes, and so they start a fight, but because they're the exterminators, they just beat the crap out of the bikers and then take their bikes. While miles away again, WizKid has a computer up. Nastir is reviewing his spells, and WizKid is inputting the spells into the machine, the computer. Just then, the exterminators get to the cemetery. They start working their way down. I like how they start whispering, so instead of all caps of the 80s, they're like in all lowercase, and the word balloons are little dots or dashes to imply that they're whispering. They catch X Factor 36 is happening at this time. And it's here. Nastir is saying, I require one more infant to channel power for the entrance spell, and 3 more after that for the final transformation. And that problem is even now being solved. And then the exterminators show up, and they start zapping people and burning people and earthquaking people and time bombing people. I think that's all their powers. Oh, and force fielding people. And then pretty quickly, the goblins Oh no, yeah. And then Skids gets the babies or a group of babies in her first field, but not all the babies. So then the goblins are gonna, uh, you know, hurt the babies. And then because Skids is too close to Leech, her force field is falling apart. So then the goblins overpowered the exterminators, and they're all knocked out. WizKid has lost all bargaining power, so he continues the spell, which is a teleportation spell that gets him right to Times Square. A spell of transport, which will take all of us to the most central source of negative energy in Manhattan. So it's a real Ghostbusters 2 situation. And then, so they're at the base of Times Square, like just one of the bigger buildings there. And so he tells everyone to get to the roof, and they're slowly working their way there. WizKid's just crying as millions are going to die because of him. And then we get the final page here, or second to last page. Who cannot block the flow of power? Who won't know how to shut it off? Whose genetic structures make them strong enough to withstand the incredible stresses involved. And now, see what you mutants have together accomplished. And someone on the ground is like, look up in the sky, what's that light? The wall between the dimension and limbo grows thin. And here's where Darkchild is mentioned. The Darkchild who controls Limbo's teleportation disk forces her way through. But it is I who control the disk. I who hold it open as all of Limbo pours into Manhattan. And I, Nastir, will rule the Inferno that Manhattan will become. And WizKid's just like, I have to save my friends. I have to save the world. I can't allow millions to die. Next issue, the finale. The end of the beginning of the end of everything. Guest starring the New Mutants. Don't miss it. And I vaguely remember this comic. Like, I don't know. I think I was just highly disconnected from it. So I'm really looking forward to the this adventure proceeding. I did put Exterminators 2 to the aside, and then let me walk over to where these comics are held in high esteem and also placed. Oh yeah, so next issue will be, or next bonus issue will be the New Mutants 71, and then another one. Oh yeah, so we're not coming back to Exterminators for a bit. But that is what's going to be next Thursday's episode. So thank you so much for listening. I just found out that Kate Pride, Shadow Kate, is in Uncanny Avengers issue 1, so I might do that instead of the Secret Invasion issue. But I don't know. She's only in for one panel, but it's perfect for that. Speaking of panels, I'm going to post, once the video starts, or the podcast starts processing, I'm going to put on Twitter the 2 panels of Magic and the caption of her, just for that sweet online content. So you can follow that at you can follow that SNFWM on Instagram and Twitter. And then I'll just reuse those for the morning when I post the plug for it. And I need to start using Blue Sky more, so I'm going to probably post it there and then post it there. And because every time I go there, I show 0 posts. And I follow Zoe of Battle Maidens. And she's clearly the most active of my followers, or people I follow. So it's a lot of tweets from her. So I'm like, I need to follow a little bit more people. And also start posting for the people who follow me. Might as well do that cross promotion. And speaking of cross promotion, I'm trying to do item shop videos in Fortnite again. Instead of just being purely Kate Pride characters, I'm going to start using each time I make a video, I'm going to use a different mutant. So at one point we have a week worth of Kate Pride, but I think that way, at least when they have tabs that stick around longer, it's not just the same character being shown. And so I think I counted and there was like 12 mutants I have, so that should be a pretty good rotation. And so So look forward to that. You can follow me on YouTube at Jackal SIII, as well as on Twitter at the same handle. And thank you so much for listening. And if you would subscribe and give the podcast some ratings, or 5-star ratings, we really appreciate it. Really helps the podcast grow. And I'll talk at you next time. All right, everyone. Bye.